Hello, everyone. Hi, and welcome to this channel. Okay, I got sound. The mic is working. I felt like streaming like this today, recording like this today. I'm just letting my hair do whatever. And let's get into it. I just want to pull like 3 cards, I guess. Or maybe 1. Look, there's that Queen of Swords again. I didn't actually read her yesterday, but she came out last night. There she is. Let's see who she's inspired by. It's giving me Nordic vibes. Well, the King of Swords was Odin, so this could be Freya? The Volva. Ah, the wise woman who teaches and speaks truth. Okay, word, girl. I should have known it would be the Volva. See? Oh, goodness. Yeah, the ribbon was like not even attached when I got this deck, but that's fine. I'm not gonna complain too much. Or maybe I should. I don't know. Anyway, Eric C. Dunn. Um, he's illustrated another deck. Oh, the Taro Illuminati. Duh. Okay. All right. So let's get into this. Cutting to the Empress. Okay. Looking all sensual and stuff. All right, girl. Okay, I'm sorry. I might take these off until I actually need to read something. I'm trying to think where the other pair is. So let's get like 2 to 3 cards for today. Oh, work! Oh, I think that one might have turned reverse. We'll see. 1. Yep, it went in reverse. The Queen of Wands. In reverse. So I guess I'll read the negative aspect. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, that one, this is all upright right now, and that definitely wanted to be in reverse. And over here, it's the 3 of Wands at the bottom of the deck. The 3 of Wands is a card of continuing a journey that you've begun, hitting a leg that requires external. I know this is like, hold on, let me just shift this a little bit. Let me just do this. There we go. Hi. It requires something external, like a ship or a train or like waiting for a doorway to open. There's an element of timing and like inherently or implicitly involved in the 3 of Wands. Now in this card, I see people bowing down to this person. There are camels in the back. There are these 2 towers, which is a very like high priestess energy. I forget what else the 2 towers are on, so right now it's high priestess. But the Queen of Wands is in reverse. So let's just get into it. There's that Queen of Swords again. Pentacles, Swords. Let's see if Wands come before Swords. Yep, there's a King of Wands. Is that Ra? No, that's Horus. Queen of Wands, who she is. It's Hathor! Girl, it's Hathor! Hathor! Maybe I should have known that. Did I even look at the Queen of Wands? I did look at the Queen of Wands. Well, I'm seeing the black cat down here. Also, there's another animal. That's the green. I was like, she's like turquoise and malachite. What's her name? Hathor. What card did I think she was on yesterday? I don't remember, but I was like, is that Hathor? She in reverse today. Is that another black cat? Or is that a different animal? I'll show y'all. Did I show y'all the first time? Oh yeah, you can't see her right though. And then there's this dragonfly that's illuminated. Or I want to say it can be a fairy. I don't know why I want to say it can be a fairy. So, Hathor, goddess of joy and inebriety and enchantment. I've never seen that as a word expressed like that before. Like, I know you can be inebriated, but inebriety. I guess it's like the opposite of sobriety. Anyway, sing my hymns, play my music, and let my priestesses dance in the temple. I am the lady of jubilation, the golden one, the lady of unending inebriety, the one who fills the sanctuary with joy. Drink deeply of my intoxicating wine, breathe deeply of my perfumed skin, and live deeply the life that is gifted to you. You desire me, and I desire your worship, your love, your devotion. Your worship feeds me, but in turn it feeds you. To be enchanted, to follow beauty, to allow yourself desire, nurtures you in every way. You are a charmed being, created from stardust, clothed in sunlight, and blessed by moonlight. Know that your desire. Hold it. I just like skipped. Here it is. I was like, hold up. Know that your desire and yearning, your urge for beauty, comes from the most divine part of yourself. This is why you prostrate yourself before me. But I too desire, and it is you who I long for. The path to me appears easy, but none could be more difficult. To give completely of yourself, to allow yourself to be drunk on life, ecstatic with every new day, is my charge and challenge to you. Call to me, and I will see desire well up within you. Call to me, and I will nurture your heart of joy and song. Call to me, and I will teach you the dance of intoxication and fascination. My name in your heart and on your lips is the sweetest music to me, for then I know you are mine. Enchanted, intoxicated by the movement of the dance, gazing into the color and beauty of the flames, every step towards me brings you closer to yourself. Know yourself, know your divine nature, know your well of desire, know the thrust of your passions, and you will be owned by none other but yourself. This is very much a temperance in reverse type of energy because it's like this is like 100 proof. Temperance is like maybe 2, 3, 4, 8 at the most. This is like 100 proof. Wait, hold up. Proofs? How do proofs work, girl? A proof is like half of a percentage, right? So if it's 100 proof, that's like 50%. We're gonna ask Siri. Hey Siri, what is proof in alcohol?
Here's what I found from Wikipedia.org. Alcohol proof is a measure of the content of ethanol, alcohol in an alcoholic beverage.
Okay, I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more than that, please. There's something like a little weird here. Why is it always weird? So it's about 1.821 times the percentage alcohol by volume. Oh, wait. Originally. Okay. So 200 proof would be 100% alcohol, roughly. Yeah. For our purposes, 200 proof means the liquid is 100% ethanol versus 190 proof, which means it's 95%. So if it's 100 proof, it's 50% alcohol. Which that's still a decent amount, right? I don't drink a lot, so I don't know. Obviously. So either way, it's not 100%, which is cool, I guess. But it's more than what is probably recommended for regular consumption. But I mean, she is the goddess or of inebriety, apparently. Let's see. Gods and men acclaim her. Goddesses and women play the sistrum for her. Tantan adorns her body. She is the mistress, the lady of inebriety. She of the music, she of the dance. Like her sister queens, the Queen of Wands has an undeniable beauty that draws people in. The watery nature of her rank bestows upon this queen a nurturing quality, the ability to channel and carry, and the tendency to take into herself all the things of her suit. Residing in the Court of Wands, she is the queen of passion, the mistress of energy, the lady of the ego, charm, and charisma. She moves in the world of desire, where the ability to affect the energy and yearning of others is paramount. Her mutable, watery nature, applied to this fiery energy and passion, gives her the ability to nurture desire, channeling and carrying her passion and that of others, feeding the energy of people, projects, and groups. Yet she takes just as much as she gives, for she loves nothing more than attention. She is most alive when others are praising her and looking at her. Her leadership is like her husband's, strong, inspiring, and energetic. But where the King of Wands leads through action and loud talk, the Queen of Wands leads through gentle direction, coaxing, promise of reward, and inspiration. Okay, that's interesting. The Queen of Wands is the most social of all the tarot queens and can be found in all kinds of gatherings. This is where she truly shines and where she performs her best work. Hathor had a yearly festival during which thousands of vessels of beer were drunk, celebrating the coming of the Nile inundation, but also preventing it from overflooding. This festival commemorated the mythological tale of Hathor and Sekhmet destroying mankind, in which Hathor was asked by the gods to destroy mankind, which had become evil and selfish. She did so, destroying only the evil ones, but soon became filled with bloodlust and transformed into Sekhmet, destroying everything in her path. The only way to stop her was for the priestess to stain the Nile red with ochre and pour into it 7,000 vessels of beer, which Sekhmet drank thinking it was blood. Intoxicated, she fell asleep and returned to peace once more. In this tale, Hathor, the Lady of Cats, became so angry that she turned into Sekhmet, Lady of Lions, and the beast overtook her. In the same way, the Queen of Wands in her anger is uncontrollable, vicious, and destructive. The fires of her rage spread quickly and burn indiscriminately. Okay. The Lady of Cats turned into the Lady of Lions. The blue lotus flowers that bloom at the feet of the Queen of Wands were sacred in ancient Egypt. They close up at night and reopen in the morning to take in the sun, so they were seen as symbolic of the sun's descent into the underworld at night and rebirth from the body of Nut in the morning. They were also the more strongly perfumed of the two types of lotuses native to ancient Egypt, the blue lotus, Nymphea corulia, Nymphea corulia, is actually a water lily, but called a lotus in ancient called a lotus in ancient Egypt. And songs were sung for the lotus at parties and social gatherings. This flower reminds us of the optimism of the Queen of Wands, who opens to the light but turns away from darkness. It also represents her all-pervading beauty and enchantment. So, the Queen of Wands is often found in the same place as her husband, the King of Wands, because they play off each other and feed each other, thus ensuring that their inner fires are forever burning. In ancient Egypt, Hathor was the wife of Horus, see King of Wands, and each had a cult center, the former at Dendera, the latter at Edfu. Once a year, at the festival of the Beautiful Reunion, the sacred statues of these deities would be taken from the respective temples and carried on a journey of more than 100 miles to meet each other, initiating a 14-day festival during which the statues were kept together in the temple at Edfu, husband and wife once more, bringing joy, love, laughter, and fertility to the people and the land. The boat that the statue of Hathor was carried on was called Great of Love, reminding us that the Queen of Wands has a heart that is always open, always willing, and always in love with everybody around her. Negatively aspected, this is somebody with a destructive and wide-reaching temper, a spoiled brat, someone demanding attention that does not deserve it, a drama queen, social manipulation, magic used for destructive purposes, seduction as a means to an end. And then the Three of Wands is here. This, to me, it could be one of two things. One second. Oh, work, sis. Yes. Okay. It could be one of two things. Either this is something that requires more, it's asking for more of us than we're comfortable currently with giving, or it's an energy of almost coming on too strong because it's not leaving any room for anything else. It's like trying to fit two people on a boat, but you take up all the space. It's like, how's that supposed to work? It's like, oh, it's like that one episode of SpongeBob when they were like, "You won't fit in," and Squidward like forced himself in there, and Squidward was like, "Oh my gosh, why is it so tight?" And they were like, "We told you that you wouldn't fit in. Like, there's literally no room for you, but you just inserted yourself into the situation anyway, and now we're all uncomfortable." But I mean, maybe he thought that they meant like you won't fit in a different way. Also, it said that the Queen of Wands takes all of her suit into her. And the Three of Wands is here. I'll read this. Sometimes these go a little long. So, Three of Wands. Can y'all see? I'll hold it for a second. Under the Three of Wands is the Four of Wands. Because, I mean, it's there. It could have not been there. Well, it did talk about the journey that the Queen of Wands, basically, it looks like the Queen of Wands makes to the home of the King of Wands for them to be together for 14 days. And I did say that the Three of Wands is like waiting on the ship to come, right? And so the ship of great love hasn't come to carry its queen to the king for that reunion to happen. And maybe in the absence of that, she turned into Sekhmet, and now it's like she's needing to get intoxicated for her to return to herself. But she only drank it, like they had to make it look like blood in order to get her to drink it. So there is this energy here of like us. It's like when I said that we experience the things that we need, that we experience things or we see things the way that we need to see it. in order to get us to do whatever it is that we need to do. And the way that we see it or experience it may not necessarily be the truth, but it's the truth that we need to see in that time and moment. And so it's like, if you're the type of person who is immovable, like super stubborn, then it's going to take something drastic or something huge or something majorly inconvenient or majorly mind blowing to get you to see things from a different way. But it's still that Queen of Wands energy though, where if they would have just offered her the beer, she wouldn't have drank it because she wanted blood. And so still, like, we only accept what it is that we want, even if what we want in that moment is something that is very uncharacteristic of us or something that separates us even further from the truth of who we are. And there's also this message of like, sometimes we get what we need, not what we want. And as long as this Queen of Wands is, in reverse, then it's like her needs and her wants don't align. And because she's the queen of going after what she desires, it's like she's forever unfulfilled because she never desires what she actually wants. Or she never desires what she actually needs. Maybe she doesn't desire what she actually wants either. Convinced to compromise. Oh gosh. So taken all the way out of her element. But let's see. I just go with it at this point. I was like, man, it was like so mystical and wonderful yesterday, but that's fine. Okay, so the Three of Wands. I'm going to try to read through this a little quicker. Some would tell you that the midday sun will harm you, that its heat will take away from your breath and shrivel you, that it creates deserts and dry husks. But I tell you that it is a living God, breathing life and power into those that stand proud before it. Do not listen to those that would put you in shade. Do not price mediocrity over greatness and achievement. Allow yourself to stand in the sun and accept its light completely. Before the day is done, you shall have success. I am Ra of the risen and resplendent light, established at my highest, and hold up, wait. I'm trying to find it. Oh, there's some light. Ooh, okay. Apparently, I need more light. Sorry. But now there's like shadow because it's coming in through the blinds. Let me open the blinds. Are we talking about Ra? Let me let in a little bit more sunlight then. Oh, there it is. Woo! Things just got a little brighter. Okay. Ooh, yeah, that's real bright. I'll start from the beginning. Some will tell you that the midday sun will harm you, that its heat will take away your breath and shrivel you, that it creates deserts and dry husks. But I tell you that it is a living God, breathing life and power into those that stand proud before it. Very Leo energy, strength. Do not listen to those that would put you in shade. Do not prize mediocrity over greatness and achievement. Allow yourself to stand in the sun and accept its light completely. Before the day is done, you shall have success. I am Ra of the risen and the resplendent light, established at my highest and seeing all from the pinnacle of the sky. May you follow in my ways and see the entirety of your creation before you. May your empire be as grand and as lasting. For you must carry with you the sure knowledge and challenge that great things are not born in an instant, great ideas not invented in a moment, great people not born great. Creativity, the ability to expand and extend ideas and energy into the world, is what makes greatness. Dare to know, dare to be, dare to experience. But be patient and brave. Doubt is your failure, success is your proof. I am Ra of the two horizons, but even I must descend. May you live in greatness, accompanied by the knowledge that your fate is to die. Let this certainty, let this certain, oh, goad. I was like, good, what? Let this certainty goad you onto more greatness, for you do not know how your days are numbered or how many dawns are given to you. I love this. So I think it's the need for us to shine more brightly and authentically to get where it is that we want to go. It's that question when we're waiting for our ships to come in. Not necessarily. It's the question of like, have you really done everything? Did you really try? Is there nothing more that you could have done? And it's like, well, I could have done that one thing that I didn't want to do because whatever reason you didn't want to do it. And it's like, so the answer is no. So why are you here waiting when there's still more for you to do? Type of energy. It's time for the revelation of those hidden signs, the revealing of those hidden signs. In the Ace of Wands, we saw Ra at the beginning of the world, the creation of the universe, the midnight just before the sun rose for the first time over the nascent form of the earth. That is, what was that? There's a card in the Diceology that I think I got recently. It's something like dawn before the first day of a new world or something like that. From this, the Two of Wands came, extending from the point of origin and expanding its horizons. Ideas sparked, creativity was generated, and movement following a desire to explore. Endeavors were begun as Kepher, the aspect of Ra at the rising sun, arose in the morning. Now, Ra rules at its pinnacle as the midday sun, shining his all-encompassing majesty over the Three of Wands, in which endeavors pay off, projects are completed, experiences gained, and dominions expanded. The man in the card is the same young man from the Two of Wands, lacking the side lock of youth grown in years, wealth, and experience. His camels, which set out in the Two of Wands, are returning laden with treasures that he will use to further his trade dominion. Before him, three slaves, bedecked in gold similar to their master, show the young man reverence and have laid before him sacks of spices and incenses. They have also presented to him a chest filled with his profits and fine dyed materials. Most of these materials are dyed a stark purple, a color seen in the ancient world as a status symbol. Called Tyrian purple, its color did not easily fade and instead became brighter when worn and exposed to sunlight. The dye was sold at high prices, so only the richest could afford it. That was back before like synthetic pigments were made. I actually kind of know a little bit about why purple was so expensive. Um, Girl, what was it? Was it like some kind of animal? I feel like it was the shell of some creature that they ground to get purple pigment. But it was like super rare. Or it wasn't like widely available, so that's why it was so expensive. And like to get blue pigments, they had to crush like lapis lazulis and stuff like that. But after more synthetic pigments came in, or synthetic dyes, where you didn't have to go find something naturally that color and then grind it up, um, then colors became more accessible to everybody. Also, I think I saw a video on like why I thought it was blue. It's like why there aren't a lot of animals that are naturally blue or something like that. Or maybe it was a different color. And it was like, because I think they talked about a butterfly, and it was like the butterfly isn't actually that color. The butterfly is more translucent, but like it refracts mostly that color, so that's why it looks like it's whatever the color was. even though it's not actually pigmented that color. Like plants appear green because they have chlorophyll. It's a pigment. And so it's more a trick of the light than it is actually embodying that color. And maybe that's also what this is. It was, I think, last night or this morning. I don't remember. It was probably last night. To be rather than seem to be popped into my mind. And the Queen of Wands in reverse is a lot of seeming to be rather than being. And it's an energy that is accustomed to interaction with other people to the point where it's dependent on it. And the praise and accolades and attentions for other people should be as, like, I guess, kindling to the fire. I don't want to say kindling because it's like the fire should be able to burn without it. Huh. Let's continue reading, shall we? Where did I start? At the color purple. The Three of Wands brings with it the concept of experience and rulership from the foundation of experience, influence over others, and a thriving dominion. Just as Ra, the midday sun, ruled over the two lands of Egypt, so the man in the card rules over all that he has grown and cared for. Like the purple dye of the cloth, this man's dominion will not easily fade, but will grow stronger as his days lengthen. Time, in the Three of Wands, is one of the greatest resources any endeavor can be given. It takes time to grow a business, gain power, and complete a project. The time it would have taken in ancient Egypt for a single trade run could be months or even years and carried considerable risk over great distances. However, the further out one reaches into the wider world, the greater one's rewards. With this card comes increased experience and an expanded dominion over others, an area or place. The young man from the Two of Wands has been successful in his endeavors and is receiving the fruits of his labors. He now owns slaves, but it is worth noting that in Egypt, slaves often lived a better quality of life than peasants, being looked after by the household or temple in which they served. In ancient Egypt, it was morally virtuous to be kind to one's slaves. In the Book of the Dead, one of the 42 negative confessions that the deceased must be able to pronounce in good faith was that he had not domineered over slaves. That's interesting. And that's one of those things I feel like where people will be like, oh, well, slavery has existed since the beginning of time. And it's like, okay, but some forms of slavery were, like, objectively worse than others. And here's one where it was, like, considered virtuous to be kind to one's slaves. Even in, like, Greco-Roman times, they had slaves that were, like, respected and who were, like, treated fairly well. And it's like that status didn't take away from one's, like, virtue, right? And some of those could have just been like prisoners of war type of, especially with the Romans. It's like, we conquered your empire, you're not Roman, so you come in under the umbrella of, one that serves, but still respecting the valor, the wisdom, the whatever that you had before. Some of them were even, like, given things, earned ranks and titles, or were freed or whatever. And it's very much similar to that, like, when people will be like, well, Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. And it's like, okay, but after Lincoln, the party changed. Like, Abraham Lincoln Republican is not the same today Republican. If y'all couldn't tell by what's been happening lately, apparently, or very obviously now. And there's this thing about like projecting things. It's like claiming a title but not having any of the substance. And it's also interesting that the Book of the Dead, one of the 42 confessions that one has to be able to make, came out because one of the last cards we saw yesterday was Justice, Ma'at, who weighs the heart against the feather. So I think that's kind of it. I'm feeling like that's it. Yeah, that's it. So that's what this Queen of Wands is. And that's why it's to be rather than to seem to be. It's about doing something indeed more so than just by title. Right? Because anybody can call themselves anything. A title it weighs as much as air. It weighs as much as the breath that it takes to speak, which is not much. But it's the action and the deed that gives it substance. And so now we're talking about mixing in the earth with the fire, which is a hearth, which is something that gives us all of the positive aspects of fire while also at the same time minimizing the destructive influences. And this in reverse is destructive. There's also a feeling of a dependence on substances to keep oneself like joyful. It's like this self enchantment that happens to keep us in a certain state of mind. And that's a lot of people. It's kind of a human thing. You know, we all have our vices or whatnot. But it's like those vices are coming to the point where it's directly inhibiting our abilities to progress in whatever ways we need to progress. This is not what I wanted. But that's fine. Um and it's like with the midday sun, you can't hide anything. The sun is at its pinnacle in the sky. It sees all. It's like I don't want to say like daddy's home. Oh. But there was a dream I had a while ago. Speaking of, well, yesterday I talked about it. Speaking of dreams I've had in Chinese. And I was recently reminded of this dream. I'm going to see. I think it was a video. I'm going to see if I can find it. Because the person said it quite a few times. And sometimes I have, in some dreams, it's kind of weird, but it's like they'll repeat something over and over and over. So I'll remember it when I wake up. And I remember I had a dream like a few weeks ago now. Um, I was in like an airport terminal. I was in an airport and like my flight had gotten delayed or something. And so I was stuck in a terminal and I had a terminal group and we were like eccentric and weird and like kind of outcasty, but we had fun. And with the Queen of Wands in reverse here, it was a space where we were free to be our true authentic selves in a way that had we been with other people, we wouldn't have been. And so there was one point I like ended up walking through the airport to go and check and see what the status of my flight was. And that's when I saw one of my Latin teachers. I was like, wow, she kind of pops up every now and then, my Latin teacher. Um, but on the way back, I was like walking by other people and they were like kind of laughing at me or whatever. And I'm just like unbothered and not even concerned because I'm going back to my group where it's like, girl, if you can't see it, that's fine. I'm not for you. I don't have to be. I don't need to be liked by you or seen by you or appreciated by you because I can do that for myself. Thanks. Um, and then I go back and the teacher comes. She's like, "Oh, I'm assigning you to a different terminal group." I said, "No, I'm not leaving this group." Excuse me? And she was like, well, it's happening. And in that moment, I said, no, like, I'm going to wake up. I'd rather wake up than continue this dream in another terminal group. And the people who I was with, they were like, oh no, like, Patrick, like, we don't want you to go. We don't want you to go. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to wake up from this dream now because I'm not going to another group. But I'll remember your faces so that when I wake up, like, I'll reach out to you. And I remember two people specifically, kind of three, but I don't have contact with the third person. It's this girl that I knew in like elementary school that I haven't seen since maybe the third or the fourth grade. Also, one of my like first friends, I guess, from kindergarten, and someone that I've met a lot more recently. And I reached out to those two, and I reached out to the first one, and I was like, "Hey, I just had this weird dream and I said I was going to reach out to you as soon as I woke up. So I'm sending you this message. Hey, what's up? Um, but there have been other times where it'll be like a number or a website. It's been a website a few times. A word, a phrase, something. That's like I'll look at it over and over and over and over and over to make sure I remember it when I wake up. And this was one of those things. It was in Chinese. I never translated it to see what it actually means. Um, is this too far? I think this is too far. Yeah, that's way too far. And what she said it meant, it was basically like, um, your parents. It's like what? Because the word she used, she said president, but I'm like, that's not the Chinese word for president. Like, I don't remember a lot of the Chinese or like any of the Chinese really. But I know that that's not the word for president. And it was something like the president is back. And I was like, that's not the word for president. So as she was talking, it like painted a picture in my mind. And how long is this video so far? Oh, girl. Okay. Like 42 minutes. That's fine. Um, it was like when your parents leave, and so you decide to like have a party or do whatever because they're gone, but your parents come back faster than you expected. And so now you're in a panic to like undo, I guess, everything that was being done. And that was the translation of what she had told me. Is it this? Oh, girl, I don't want to hear nothing weird. No, it's not that. What is that? What was that? Oh, I was trying to get behind my TV and I couldn't see, so I recorded it. That's what it was. I know it's like a 2-second video. And it's like black because I woke up from the dream and I was like, I gotta put this down. And so I just recorded it in a video instead of doing like a voice note. This is 40 seconds. It's not 40 seconds long. No, that's not that one. Does it matter? I mean, I could move on, but I really want. It was before I did that. What is time? Okay. I'm gonna check my voice notes, voicemail. I don't even remember what they are. I gotta search for it every time. You know, it's literally right here. I can't find it anyway. I really wanna like know. I wanna know. I'm gonna check my journal app. I'm pretty sure it's not in here. I'm gonna just search Chinese and hope it pops up. Mm-mm. That's the dream I was talking about. Darn it. I can't find it right now. It's fine. But yeah, I had the dream and that's what it meant. And like we said it like over and over. And she was like, "All right, Patrick, now you say it." I was like, "Oh, girl, you kind of put me on the spot here. I ain't done Chinese since like senior year of high school, girl. It's been almost a decade now, right? 2011. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was like a decade now. No, that would have been first semester cuz second semester I um I took AP biology. It was like AP Bio and Chinese were offered at the same time, so I had to go with biology. Okay. It's also interesting that this is the midday sun because for me, it's reading as like almost sunset. It's reading closer to sunrise or sunset, but this is the midday sun, and that it means to me, if y'all there we go, there's some light. It means to me that it's like we think that we're at the beginning or the beginning or the end of something, but we're actually right in the middle of it. And so either it isn't as late as we think it is, or it's much later than we think it is. Either way, something about our concept of time is off. Okay, that was a lot, and I guess I'm not gonna get a final message because, well, I always shuffle the cards after I'm done. Always, whether you see it or not. Just to, like shuffle it out. Who did? Ooh, the world. They're the world. The world with justice. The world with justice. Y'all see that? That's my aunt and the world. And I was just talking about my aunt. There's something about the way that we experience the fulfillment of desire and interaction with others and control in a way that was talking about all of that. And it's almost like the worst that you've done to others will be done to you. But not, and it's more like how maybe we thought a certain status or whatever gave us permission to be a little bit more, I don't want to say flippant, disregarding, to disregard others a little more. I don't know. And substances ain't gonna save you this time. Ain't enough beer in the world to get that. It's like we gonna have to just find ourselves. Okay, I'm gonna take either this card or this card. ¿Por qué no los dos? Okay, not all those. The Six of Cups. Oh, it's two of them. Fine. Six of Cups, the World, and the Princess of Wands. Bottom of the deck is the Eight of Swords. And there's a number 4 on here. Looks like there's two crows. Now, I think Swords is all Nordic. Wands are all like Egyptian. Pentacles are Hindu. I don't know what cups are. Why does it give me Bayonetta vibes? I love Bayonetta. Greek. It looks like cups are, yeah, Greco-Roman. Cups are Greco-Roman. Because the king of cups is Apollo, I think. Speaking of Apollo, I kind of love this. So there was an energy of the Queen of Wands not being able to get to the King of Wands and whatever it was causing her. But in this world card, it's like there's this masculine energy welcoming this angelic feminine energy. Last time we saw feminine energy, she was in the Queen of Cups. Masculine energy was in that Ten of Swords going through the rebirth. And then the Princess of Wands is here. There is an energy of like turning back the hands of time a little bit. With the Six of Cups in the world, taking the queen that was in reverse back to being a princess. And there's something about like reclaiming the power of our youth, or reclaiming the power of not yet being, I don't want to say corrupted by the world, but it's like reclaiming that power of belief. And it's being made new. Now, masculine energy went through like that whole Ten of Swords ordeal. And then there was Judgment, and then the King of Swords came out and something else was there. Now, there's the Six of Cups, the world, with this Princess of Wands. And the Eight of Swords at the bottom, it's almost like when we have a fixed perception of something else, it keeps us stuck and time locked in that moment. Or as long as we're waiting on something else to happen to complete us or for us to move forward, we will forever be waiting. Type of energy. But it's a return to self. It's a journey backwards in time, but it's not, because it's still forward in our linear experience. Like, even if you can time travel, your linear experience is always linear. So as long as like we're human, well, yeah, in some way, as long as you are you, even if you hit a moment of timelessness, or if you hit a moment where your experience is released from planes of linearity, this, in this incarnation, still preceded that. So it's almost like a knot in a string, a knot at the end of a string or a yarn that represents that entering timelessness. I keep looking at that Bible stories book. I'll pull one. Why not? And then I'll end this because this is. I ain't got nothing to do today. I mean, there are things that I do need to do, but things I need to clean up because it's not serving me the way that I wanted to. Jesus and the children. Well, they say that Jesus loved the little children, all the children of the world. Jesus, save me, he cried. At once, Jesus reached out and grabbed Peter. Why did you doubt, Peter? When they both got back in the boat, the wind had died down. The disciples knelt down before Jesus and said, "Truly, you are God's Son." So there's Peter in the water. Oh, I guess I could do it here. There's Peter and Jesus in the water. That's when I guess I could go back a few pages, but I'm not gonna. That's when there was that the storm and Jesus walked on water? Or was that a different time? Maybe I should have went back. But it was basically like Jesus told Peter to do it. And Peter was doing it until Peter doubted himself. And then he fell into the water. And that's this thing about the return. Before the introduction of doubt from primarily external sources or from experiences that didn't work out in the past. But it's like, as long as you hold on to that doubt, you will never see what is already transpiring before you, what you're already doing, what you're already in transit to receive. And as soon as that doubt kicks in, it's like boom, you go into the water and it washes it out. Why am I getting like Queen Cup vibes right now? She just like popped into my mind heavy. And usually that only happens like when I reference somebody. So maybe, I don't know, is she doing readings today? Maybe she'll go live. Maybe she went live. Oh, she just popped into my mind. But yeah, it's like it's time to reclaim the beauty of an open mind and an open heart and purer desires, less corrupted desires. And I guess sometimes it's like there are things that we look at and we're like that's so like simple. Like I could have done that. Or like that's so easy, like I could do it. And it's like, okay, well, why don't you? Or like what are you actually doing? It's like this thing about like what you could do, what you can do, or what you're capable of. But now it's like, okay, well, when are you going to start actually doing something? Because a lesser encumbered you would have at least tried by now. And a less encumbered you would have discovered a natural talent, or maybe a not natural talent, maybe a drive, a passion for something that would drive you to get better. It's like we are so consumed with what we think is possible that we don't even see the things that are already happening around us. And Spirit's like, why do you continue to doubt? Because I feel like in Spirit's eyes, you should already know that this is something that Spirit is capable of, or that you are capable of. Something that the world is capable of. And it's not going to take as long as we think it has to take. Because things are different now. And different things are supported now. It's like the scales are weighted differently. And it takes me back to that, like, we're filling certain channels and we're creating new ones, and it's like a circuit that we're making or some kind of conduit or whatever. And to prevent it's like to prevent old things from being energized. I've been playing so many app games lately. I'll play them for a little bit, and then when I get annoyed at the ads, then I'll like delete them. Or once I get so far, I'll delete them. But sometimes while I'm playing app games, I'll see ads for other app games that I download. It's coming to me like an app game basically. But it's like there's this one thing that's energized, and we want to change the circuitry to energize something else. And so it's like things that you have to dam, not to condemn, but to like beaver things you got to beaver dam so that it doesn't flow in that direction anymore, or it's like it's silting up, it's clogging. It doesn't get as much flow as it used to, and it's almost like progress and cooperation and collectivism was silted up or dammed, or like those pathways were just non-existent before, so it took a lot longer to get certain things to move. But now things are shifting in such a way that all that old stuff, y'all hear the um all the old stuff is now going to be experiencing the delay that the good stuff used to experience. I don't want to say the good stuff, but the stuff that we're going to be coming into now. you should experience. Those channels are now open. Those things are now getting energy and power and juice, and it's being pulled out of the old stuff. So it's not going to take as long as we think it's going to take. And maybe, hopefully, too, I'll declare it so. Two, we're moving into a space time where we actually do what is necessary, or we actually do what is required, instead of that, like, let's not but say we did type of energy. We're going to begin to be, rather than seeming to be, or proclaiming ourselves to be. And maybe that's like that Princess of Wands energy. Because it's like the Princess of Wands, it's that energy where, because gender disparities have been what they've been for some women in certain industries, it's like they have to work harder, achieve more to get a fraction of the respect that their male peers get, who have done a fraction as much as they've done. And so it's this period. It's not necessarily about proving yourself, but it's more, I guess, about the work that you put into what it is that you want to grow in. But when it's like, when you're the queen, you've already made it, so you don't necessarily have to work as hard. Now, there may be a change in direction here as well. Establishing yourself in something new, establishing yourself in the thing that you kind of sort of always wanted to, or you always felt led and guided to, but it wasn't as profitable, or there were other reasons and factors that stopped you from doing it in the past. But with this Six of Cups, it's about that return. And I think with this Eight of Swords, that's that human thing where we feel like we're losing progress, or we feel like we're regressing because we step away from one thing that we spent time in. Honestly, you could have gained experience, you could have gained some kind of notoriety, but ultimately, or you could have just spent a lot of time there and go into something new. And we may interpret that pivot as like, man, I just wasted all that time. Or because we don't have whatever set of experiences we think we should have for whatever it is that we're going for, we think of ourselves as lesser than. But with this Eight of Swords, it's like we don't see, or we're not seeing how it's like that right on time, just as planned type of energy, where this is the next step in the progression. This is the next step in the evolution. It's, in our minds, not what we saw the next logical step as, but in the grand scheme of things, this is where we were heading the whole time. And again, I think the Eight of Swords at the bottom is just the fact that we couldn't see it. That maybe we do become these Queens of Wands and we lose those kingdoms or queendoms, or we lose ourselves in those kingdoms and queendoms, only to appreciate the self that we return to more, or to have a different perspective and twist and spin on whatever it is when we get there. One that we wouldn't have had we not been a part of whatever we think of as a failure. But there was something I read yesterday, it had to be. It was in the King of Pentacles, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe it wasn't. It was basically like something along the lines of like, it's only a failure when you stop trying. Where my glasses go? Okay, I'm not gonna read it, I guess. Oh, they're literally right there. They're right here, but I already closed the book. I am gonna read it. Actually, I think I will, because there were bits and pieces of this that I absolutely adored, that were very relevant for the conversation that was being had. The earth and all its creatures change and evolve. Their needs change, and the ways in which they may fail and succeed do also. Humankind has evolved to a state of lofty height, but I love it more for the work it still has left to do. Okay, I guess that's it. Well, that was that part, and then it also like things change and evolve. We change and evolve. Success and failure look very different than what they used to be. For me, maybe success would have been me taking that job with that one company because of all it would have provided, and blah 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 whatever. But for who I am right now, that's failure. That's a failure. That would be a failure for me to stick and adhere to my principles, my ethics, my integrity because someone's offering me a little bit of money. Now, when I say a little bit of money, it's more money than I've had, less money than I'm expecting. But regardless of the amount of money, that's a compromise on integrity that I'm not going to make. It would have been a failure for me. Now, what would have been a success then? And that's a failure for me within my own construct and on my own path. Not to say that that would have been a failure for anybody else. Just for me, that would have been a personal failure. What would have been a personal success in the past? Potentially. I mean, I've always been principled, so. But I think I could have taken the perspective of like, I'm just there for the experience. And once I have the experience, I can apply somewhere else. Or that maybe things have changed and maybe blah, 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 whatever. And it's like, yeah, potentially. But girl, where I am now, like, no. 2020 taught me a lot of self love, girl, and self worth. And I'm glad she did. I'm really glad she did. It was a hard lesson. It was a hard lesson. It was difficult at times learning to leverage or balance love of self with love of others. But now, where I am now, I'm appreciative of it. So hey, all right, that's what I got for this one. I hope y'all have a good one, everyone. If you see this, I hope you're acting in alignment to make the best possible. This is a lot, so I'm just gonna shuffle it and pull one card because that was a lot, and that feels like it was still off of the last thing, and sometimes it is off of the last thing, and that's where I ended as the final message. Sometimes it takes us like it bridges into something else. Excuse me. I just don't want to leave it like that with that. Oof. Boom. Oh, the Hangman. Okay. Work. That's the Sundance. Hangman is where we're ending it. And I kind of love the Hangman. For where we're ending it. The Hangman is one of my favorite majors. One of my favorite cards. The Hangman and the Moon. Interestingly enough, when I started, those are the two that I gravitate towards. They're two Piscean cards, so I'm a Pisces. What can I say? But also, they're two cards that kind of get like a bad rep from a lot of people. And like, oh, there's shadow in any energy, but I see the Hangman and the Moon in the light. But also, I'm someone who dwells a lot of times more in the energy of potential than reality. And it feels like I like to like sometimes like reel it in or to like pull it in, to coax it in, like, come on, it's safe. Come on. You can come into this experience now. We've learned and grown, so we're not going to burn down the house this time. Unless it needs to be burned down, you know. Sometimes you got to knock down a house to build a duplex or something. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad thing. Let's not. I'm not even gonna go there. Okay, all right, bye. I hope you have a good whatever, whenever.